I think we are watching the destruction of the system in real time. Not necessarily in some dramatic moment where everything suddenly stops. There may never be one morning when we wake up and somebody announces that the old world is officially over. It seems to be happening much slower than that. Piece by piece, institution by institution, expectation by expectation, and maybe that is what makes it so strange. Everything still looks like it is functioning. People still wake up and go to work. Trains still run. Stores will open. Bills still arrive. Politicians still give speeches. Corporations still advertise. Schools still hand out diplomas. Banks still approve loans. People still scroll through their phones and order dinner. The machinery is still moving. But underneath all of it, I feel like something fundamental is breaking. For most of my life, there was an understanding about how society was supposed to work. You worked, you paid your bills. You tried to save some money. Maybe you bought a house, maybe you raised a family, maybe you retired someday. There was supposed to be a connection between effort and stability. That connection feels weaker now. People can work full time and still struggle with rent. People can graduate from college and spend months sending applications into what feels like a black hole. People can make more money than they did 10 years ago and somehow feel poorer. That changes people. Because eventually people start asking a dangerous question for any system. What exactly am I working toward? When enough people stop believing that participation leads somewhere, the system develops a legitimacy problem. And I think that is where we are. I see people losing faith in almost everything. They don't trust politicians. They don't trust corporations. They don't trust the media. They don't trust universities. They don't trust banks. They don't trust employers. Sometimes they don't even trust each other. That doesn't mean every institution is corrupt or every person running them is dishonest. It means the shared confidence that once held everything together is deteriorating. And confidence is more important than people realize. Money works because we believe it has value. Banks work because we believe our money will still be there tomorrow. Governments function because enough people accept their authority. Markets function because people believe contracts will be honored. Communities function because people believe cooperation is worthwhile. Civilization itself depends on millions of people believing that tomorrow will resemble today, enough for long-term planning to make sense. What happens when that belief disappears? People stop planning. They stop investing emotionally in the future. They stop believing that sacrifice today will produce something better tomorrow. They start living week to week, paycheck to paycheck, sometimes day to day. And I think we're seeing that mentality spread. People aren't necessarily walking around saying, I have lost confidence in the social order. They say something much simpler. What's the point? That sentence tells me more than 1,000 economic reports. What's the point of working harder if everything gets more expensive? What's the point of being loyal to a company that could eliminate your position tomorrow? What's the point of saving when one emergency can wipe it out? What's the point of buying into a lifestyle that requires decades of debt? What's the point of chasing status when everybody seems exhausted anyway? Those questions are becoming harder to answer. Technology is accelerating the transformation. Artificial intelligence, automation, algorithms, smartphones, online shopping, remote work, and social media have changed society faster than our institutions can adapt. Entire ways of living that existed for generations are disappearing. The neighborhood store disappears. The local newspaper disappears. The shopping mall empties. The office changes. The bank branch closes. The cashier becomes a machine. The customer service representative becomes a chatbot. The person who once had a stable career begins wondering whether software will eventually perform half of their job. Efficiency keeps increasing. But I keep wondering, efficient for whom? We built systems capable of producing incredible amounts of wealth, information, and technology. Yet millions of ordinary people feel increasingly insecure. That contradiction cannot continue forever without changing society. And then there is the destruction of community. I think this might be one of the most overlooked parts of what is happening. People used to have places where they naturally encountered one another. Neighborhood stores, churches, factories, union halls, local bars, community organization, front porches, parks, shopping districts, even workplaces. Many of those places still exist, but their role has changed. More of life happens through screens now. We can communicate with hundreds of people without actually knowing anybody. We can watch somebody's entire life online without ever speaking to them. We can have thousands of followers and nobody to call when something goes wrong. That creates another kind of collapse. A social collapse. When people lose community, every problem becomes harder because everyone has to carry life individually. Financial problems become personal failures. Loneliness becomes something people hide. Unemployment becomes shame. Stress becomes private. People begin thinking they are individually failing when millions of other people are experiencing exactly the same pressure. Eventually, though, people compare notes. They start talking and they realize something. Maybe I'm not the only one. Maybe everybody is struggling. Maybe the problem is bigger than me. That realization changes the atmosphere. I think that is part of the shift happening now. People are questioning assumptions that previous generations rarely questioned. Do I actually need a big house? Do I want to spend my entire life working? Do I need a new car? Do I care about climbing the corporate ladder? Do I want children? Do I need to live in an expensive city?